Here comes the 7 horse now making an outside move and the 2 coming up on the rail. But right now, the 1.
Oh my God, that 1.
He's opening up, and does anybody have that 1 on the board? We have. Alan Levitt is on the 1.
Oh my God, Alan Levitt.
He's hanging on. Here comes, they're charging late. It's the 8 horse and the 11 and the 1. He's going to do it. Alan Levitt hits a capper.
He's going to win the thing.
He might win it on the cap horse. Let's see. He's what does he need to pass?
He's got it.
He's gonna win it.
Alan Levitt, yes.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Flo-Cal Faceoff, a 2-day online handicapping tournament with a lot of money on the line, over $500,000 in the prize pool, and the first place almost is $180,000. My name is Bill Downs. Normally I play the role of track announcer, but for today, I'm playing the role of host for this 2-day web stream. This is day 1 of the Flo-Cal Faceoff, and my partner is 15-time NHC qualifier, Chris Larmey. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing great. I mean, doesn't get much better than this. Racing from the great race place, $500,000 on the line, some of the best contest players from across the continent. And they're all trying to see who will be the champion. Last year we saw that cool replay of the last race from the contest where Alan Levitt came from 19th place to capture the title with a capper. So hopefully we can repeat some of that excitement this weekend. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, some high drama last year. We'll see about this year. But right now, we're going to go to the communications director for HorseTourneys.com, Eric Wing. The Flo-Cal Faceoff is upon us. It's the first big money online tournament for HorseTourneys.com in 2022, and we are pleased to welcome in Eric Wing, the communications director of HorseTourneys.com. Eric, how are you?
Doing great. How are you, Bill?
I'm doing fabulous. Well, tell me about the Flo-Cal Faceoff. I know it's a 2-day event, but tell me about the buy-in, the format, any other details that you wanted to share with everyone.
It's a $1,500 buy-in for this competition, in which players make mythical $2 win and place selections on one horse in every race of the Gulfstream and Santa Anita cards, both Saturday and Sunday. The scoring is quite simple. Whoever does the best wins the big money. And in this case, last year, the big money was $206,000 for Alan Levitt of Baltimore, Maryland. And for our later legs in what we call the tourney triple, we've got the Players' Championship on April 9th and 10th. That's a $2,000 buy-in. And the Sponsor Showdown in August, a $2,500 buy-in. And for those later 2 legs, in case people don't have $2,000 or $2,500 lying around under their sofa cushions, we run low-cost buy-ins all throughout the year. You can qualify for as little as $50 or $100. You don't have to be wealthy to find your way into this tournament, which is a nice thing. We like to make it open to as many people as possible.
Well, you also mentioned this is part of that triple, and there's a point system and some bonuses that could total over $1 million or more. So tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, you're right, Chris. Last year's Flo-Cal, for example, had a final purse of $570,000. The Sponsor Showdown it was the highest online purse ever at $640,000. But on top of that, we have a bonus system encompassing the 3 events. If you win all 3, you get a $2 million bonus. If you win 2 out of the 3 legs, you get a $1 million bonus. And even if no one wins more than 1 leg of the Tourney Triple Series, we have 3 guaranteed bonus prizes. If you finish in the top 100 of any of the events, you get points. You get 100 points for finishing first, you get 1 point for finishing 100th, and so on down the line. And whoever has the most points will get both a BC seat and an NHC seat. Second place in the point standings gets a Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge seat, and third place earns a spot in the big one this coming September. So last year, for example, Anthony Matera finished third and earned $41,000 in the Flo-Cal Faceoff. He continued to do well in the next 2 legs, and he wound up being the points leader and got that BC and NHC seat for doing best overall during the course of the 2021 Tourney Triple.
Wow. So a lot of big money is on the line. Thanks so much, Eric, for taking the time. And we're looking forward to a big Flo-Cal Faceoff here on HorseTourneys.com.
I'm looking forward to it too, Bill. Thanks very much for having me on.
There are about 4 races left in day 1 here in the day 1 of the Flo-Cal Faceoff. It's time to take a look at the leaderboard. And right now with the lead is Steve Arison with $157.40. It was a fairly chalky start to day 1, but then, Chris, we had a big long shot in the last race at Gulfstream.
Yes, it was, I think, Mom's Mom or something like that. The 12 horse, a cap horse, the first real price of the day, and it just shook up the leaderboard. I mean, pretty much all the players now at the top of the leaderboard had that, including Steve Arison, who was the closest to the top when that horse scored, and he's opened up a pretty nice, almost $20 lead. And there is some day 1 prize money. $12,500 goes to the first place. So, you know, he can win some money, go to bed tonight on the top of the leaderboard, and knowing that he's already, you know, made a 5-figure payday for the weekend.
Yeah, the horse you're talking
about.
Yeah, exactly. Nice to have a 5-figure payout before you even go to bed. But that horse you're talking about in that 11th race at Gulfstream was Mom's Moon. Had the outside post for Rusty Arnold and lit up the tote board at 40-1. So win price is capped at 20-1. And so that certainly catapulted Steve up to the leader. Giuseppe Petrella is second at $136.40. Mark Aylward is third. He was the early leader before that bomb hit. He had the second place horse, if I remember correctly. So that was a tough beat for him, but he's still right there, $130.80. Kyle King at $128 as we go down the leaderboard. And a lot of the people that are at the top of the leaderboard, probably about 90% of them in the top 10 had that big price horse. But day 1 money, there is $12,500 for the day 1 leader after we get done with these races at Santa Anita. Second gets $7,500. Third, $3,750. And fourth gets $1,250. And even if you have a horrible day 1, the day money is available for day 2 once again. So, you know, in case you're not doing that well, there's something to shoot for with the day 2 money. But we mentioned, Chris, that last year Alan Levitt catapulted from 19th to first and got the big money. $180,000 is first place this year in this Flo-Cal Faceoff.
Yeah, and you know, with the day money and the overall prize money, it makes it a little more interesting from a tactics standpoint within the contest, because, you know, the players near the top of the leaderboard, they would like to win that day money, but they also want to make good decisions longer term to position themselves to win the big money on day 2. So they got to kind of keep both of those things in mind, and that might affect some of the decision making, especially in like the last race or 2. And you did mention a cap horse. For those people, there might be a few people that aren't real familiar with contests. A cap horse, the most
points that you can win with a single horse is 64. You can get up to 42 points for the win price and 22 for place. So even if a horse goes off at 100 to 1 and wins, the most you can win is $64. And we call that a cap horse. And we've had one today, and that really shook up the leaderboard. And who knows? We might have another one before the day's over.
Yeah, we talked about the cap horse. Other big prices that really the only other big win price on the day was that fourth race at Gulfstream. The 9 horse Embrace My Uncle, 11 to 1 shot. First time in the barn of Michael DiPaolo won that fourth race at Gulfstream. And I know a lot of the top 10. The top 10 had that horse, Embrace My Uncle, in race number 4. But we'll see how it all plays out here in terms of what handicappers play in this 7th race at Santa Anita.
Yeah, and in fact, the 7th race is going off right now, and maybe we can go to the live feed and kind of follow that along, and then check out the leaderboard afterwards and see what happens in the top 10.
So let's see what Steve Arison decided to do. He went with the 2 horse, who is battling for the lead right now.
Smile. Yes. He went with the speed horse, Fast, Scary Smile. And it's quite a battle on the front end here, so we'll have to see what happens. Looks like the 1 horse looks pretty strong on the outside, and we got the 4 horses across the track, and the 8 horse. And now we have a horse on the rail. Let's see that 8 horse, Crash Corrigan.
Yep, Crash Corrigan.
One.
And then
the 3 Rookie Mistake, who's
it's
whoa,
close.
That was close. I'll let the track announcer call the winner on that one.
Well, I didn't bring my crayons to this feed today, so I'm just going to kind of see it how everyone else sees it when they're watching at home. But that's a close photo. I mean, if I had to lean, maybe the 8, but I have to see that one more time. But in terms of the leaderboard, that's big for Giuseppe, who is had the 8 horse. So
also Rookie Mistake, the 3 Kyle King, that horse 6 to 1. We'll have to see. I thought the 3 got it, but you're more experienced at calling the winners than I am. But that was close.
I'm kind of doing this technology thing. I'm watching my computer. I'm watching my tablet. Just kind of watching all sorts of stuff here. Here's a good look at the.
Here's the slow mo right now. It looks like the 8, the 3 kind of getting the bob. Whoa, that's tight.
You got that right. But
tight.
The 8 is 3 to 1. So that wouldn't be enough to take the lead, but certainly if the 8 is the winner here, Giuseppe would cut that lead margin down quite a bit from like the $20, get $8 and maybe like $4 a place, just depending on what happens there. But they still got the photo up here. It's between the 8 and the 3, and it's yeah.
And then right there, you think it's the 8, but I'll tell you, it got really close. That's a close one. You never know about the angle that they're showing it at, but that's tight. So either Kyle King or Giuseppe Petrella will benefit. Also, Albion Benton, a really good contest player in 5th place, had Crash Corrigan.
Yep.
So there'll be some movement on the leaderboard, but we know the leader will still be Steve Arison. No one's going to catch him, even though he didn't have the winner. With 3 races to go, he'll be in the lead for day money.
Look who got up. The 8.
The 8 did. Crash Corrigan gets through.
With Juan Hernandez, one of my favorite jockeys on the West Coast circuit, getting up for the win. Rookie Mistake was 2nd at 6 to 1. Like we said, Giuseppe will cut into the margin, but Steve Arison will still hold on for the win. Just want to go over the prize money one more time. The top 28 finishers, I believe, at least cash, but the really all the big money is in the top 10. Ninth place gets 9,000. Seventh and eighth, I believe, gets $11,250. Sixth gets $13,500. Fifth, $22,500. Fourth, $27,000. Third, $36,000. Second, $72,000, and the winner will get $180,000. So that's nothing to sneeze at right there with that prize pool.
Yeah, we can look. We've the race is official. We can refresh the leaderboard now and see. Then Steve Aronson's still on top, but a couple players that had Crash Corrigan have made moves into second and third, and it's definitely tightening up. Kyle King moving into fourth. He's just all those players are within, and also even Mark Alward in fifth. They're all one decent price away from the lead. So going through these last three races, and we're going to talk about those in detail as we go forward for the rest of the show. It should be really interesting, and it's probably going to come down to that last horse on that last race.
Yes. So Steve's got the lead, 157.40. Giuseppe second, 148.60. Albion Benton third, 134.80. Kyle King 20 cents behind him. Then Mark is fifth, $130. But some pretty high scores. All things considered, the handicappers have done a really good job, considering there hasn't been like an abundance of bombs throughout the afternoon. And but I'll tell you what, though, this next race at Santa Anita is, I thought, one of the toughest on the day. I think it's probably one of the best races that we're going to see all weekend.
Yeah, let's talk about that and talk about it in terms of the contest, because what contest players like. And horse players in general are big fields and competitive races. And this is 11 horses with the scratch on the turf, downhill turf course, sort of the iconic signature part of the Santa Anita track configuration. And what's interesting is you've got two, really strong favorites, but they're both going to vie for favoritism. So it's not like you're going to have a 3-5 shot in here. You're going to have two horses, the 9 Warren Showtime and the 12 Legs Galore. Both right now they're at 2-1 on the board, and they'll be vying for favoritism. And you'll get. Oh, there's the photo they just posted. Very tight. Feel sorry for those people who had rookie mistake. He ran a good race, but second best. So Warren's Showtime and Legs Galore, if you're on the top of the leaderboard and you're trying to hold on, maybe if you're Steve Aronson and you like one of those two a lot more than the other, say you like Legs Galore a lot more than Warren Showtime or vice versa, you might go with them. But to me, if you don't really like either one a lot more than the other, then that's kind of a short price to take on a horse that's a little bit iffy. And then, that opens up a lot of potential prices on the board if you look beyond those two. And that's where you can really get into some interesting plays from a contest perspective. So I'll ask you, Bill, is there a horse beyond the favorites that you were looking at in here that you think is a live long shot that might be one players would want to consider playing in the contest?
Oh yeah, there's a few in here that I this would be a tough race for me to play, just because I've got so many potential horses that I do like. One I do like is the 2-horse California Kook, who won last time out, first time in the barn of Ruben Alvarado, and he was on the dirt. But he went under a hand ride. And I always love those type of horses that went under a hand ride. It just says that they can take up maybe the class hike. And California Kook is one that likes to come from a little bit off the pace. Now, the turf record's not the best in the world, but the down the hill is a unique something that we do in North American horse racing, in terms you literally come down the hill and then you got to take that right turn and then you got the left turn right away. And one of the things I don't like about California Kook in these big fields going down the hill, I'm not a huge fan of the inside post because they work from the outside in going down the hill. And so those inside two horses I think are a little bit of a disadvantage, Alice Marble and California Kook. But I certainly do. California Kook Kook is one that I got under consideration. But of the two favorites, Chris, Warren Showtime, Legs Galore. If you were going to play one of the favorites, which one of those two do you like more than the other? Even though this race is a race that is just full of contenders.
Yeah, if I had to pick between the two, I mean, it's interesting because they're very polar opposite in running style. Legs Galore probably will dominate this race on the front end, which is normally a good thing. And down the hill from an outside post is typically not bad as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the horse is coming off a layoff and has to get 6.5 furlongs. So there's a little bit of a chink in the armor there. And then Warren Showtime, one that likes to come from out of it, but is proven in these turf sprints. But, you know, it's always a little dicey coming from behind in a turf sprint. So, I have a hard time separating them. If I had to pick between the two, I would go with Warren Showtime. I just think that horse overall might be a little bit better. And the downhill course is usually a little more favors the horses that can come from behind than maybe a typical turf sprint at 5 or 5.5 furlongs. So I'd go that direction. But if I were in the contest, they're so close together. That 2-to-1 price is not that appealing to me. I would probably try to look elsewhere, and we can talk about some of those other horses as well. But before that, who would you go with between the two favorites?
Probably Warren Showtime. You mentioned Legs Galore. The layoff really takes me aback a little bit, and taking a short price, and she's getting bet in the wagering. So that lowers the appeal on Legs Galore. Warren Showtime, last time she ran that she won was going down the hill in the Cal Cup Distaff, and she got a pretty good trip, was able to split horses in that race, and her consistency is amazing. She's only 5 years old, but she seems like she's been around forever because she's been running at a high level for so long, and she is one game mare, is Warren Showtime. Let's talk about a few of the others in here, Chris. What about the 11 Eddie's New Dream? I think I think she'll be popular with some contest players. She's a big long shot, 20-1. She is a newly turned 4-year-old filly taking on Older. She has defeated Older in the past, but that was just in entry-level allowance optional claiming races in the fall at Santa Anita. But she's back on the turf, and last time she was a winner. What do you think of her chances being a 20-1 shot in a race like this?
I think definitely this is the kind of horse I'm interested in. She's done really well in all her turf starts. She is cutting back, but cutting back is usually not a bad thing going down the hill. She'll be coming from out of it a bit. Is she good enough to beat Warren Showtime? I don't know, but she's got some upside. And if she were to improve and maybe get the better trip, both of those horses are going to have to work a trip. And, Legs Galore, tires on the front end. There's no reason why Eddie's New Dream couldn't be one of the horses that could close. That outside post, I think, is a benefit to her. I'm not a big fan of Mario Gutierrez in turf races, but all in all, I would not argue at all with anybody who wanted to play Eddie's New Dream in the contest, or even maybe make a win bet. Right now, 20-1 on the board. The projected odds, if you look at DRF Formulator, which is a nice tool, if you want to get a sense for how the odds are going to shift at post time, has Eddie's New Dream down at 12-1. So you might expect those odds to come down some from that 20-1 right now, but you're going to get a good price on Eddie's New Dream, and definitely one of the horses you'd want to consider in the contest.
Yeah, she's 2 for 3 on the turf, and the one time that she lost in that stakes race on October the 30th, she didn't have a good trip at all.
No. In fact, she's won with a not such a good trip. She had one good trip win and one win that was probably not that great. So, yeah, she's certainly a contender. There's several other price horses in here I'm interested in as well. One, if you're looking for, a cap horse, kind of a guaranteed capper, I would go with the 5-horse Smiling Shirley.
Okay.
She's coming off a really long layoff, but she's always been consistent, and she's been training well, and she's probably improved quite a bit or developed quite a bit off the layoff and matured quite a lot. And I would think that she could, she can fire off the bench. There's no reason why she couldn't be right in the mix late, and who knows, maybe even win. And she is 45-1 on the board and probably will drift up beyond that at post time. So she's not an impossible horse. So if you're down near the leader, down at the bottom of the leaderboard right now, that's the kind of horse you might want to take a shot with. Smiling Shirley. You might be smiling after the race.
Yeah, you got that right. There's a couple of mares that are coming from a race up at Golden Gate Fields. I'm talking about the 4 Nardini and the 6 Revelation. Revelation is a deep closer, likes to come from out of the clouds, and was able to get up for the win in that stakes race on the synthetic up at Golden Gate. She has won on the turf before, albeit just a starter allowance race in late summer at Golden Gate Fields. But Nardini was much closer to a pretty hot pace in that race at Golden Gate, and it looked like she was going to be the winner at the 8th pole. And then Revelation came from out of nowhere and tagged her right at the end. You give either one of these two mares a chance, and there's a big difference in the price. Nardini right now is at 9-2, and Revelation would be a cap horse at 25-1.
Yeah, I mean, you always have to take price into account. To me, Nardini did kind of look like a short horse coming off the layoff that last time. Mm-hmm. She probably needed the race, and it was on the synthetic, but Revelation did beat her. She has won on turf, and, like you said, 9-2 on Nardini and 28-1 right now on Revelation. So to me, that's a pretty easy decision to make. If you want to give one of those two a shot, I'd definitely go with the 6 horse. Nardini sort of is kind of, I thought that morning line was bad and that this horse would be the obvious third choice behind the 2 favorites, and that's kind of how it's shaping up. I just don't know if she can chase, the 12 horse. I've lost the name, Legs Galore, and then run her down and hold off the closers. I just don't know a race shape that really favors Nardini. She's not a bad horse, but I think she might be up against it. She's sort of sandwiched between the engine and the caboose, and I think that's a tough place to be for her. That's why I'm kind of against Nardini at that price. I don't think that's a good play.
Yeah, and that's a good thing about playing in a live contest, Chris, is that you get to see the odds. You might suspect that Nardini's going to get played, but if it was a pick and pray contest, you kind of have to make your determination and just before the first race, and then this mare gets bet down, and you're like, oh, darn it! I mean, I wish she didn't get bet. But Revelation is much higher priced than Nardini, and she's one to consider as well. Just updating the odds in this race as I try and move my computer around. The favoritism role between Legs Galore and Warren's Showtime. Those two are going to go off as a favorite. Nardini, third choice at 9-2. As I'm looking at the PPs, one did draw into the race. The 13, She's Devoted. She drew into the race, right?
Yeah, she's in.
Yeah, she's lightly. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, maybe we can go to the track feed so we can see them in the paddock here before the race. Probably a little more interesting than the leaderboard at this point. And yeah, go ahead, Bill. You were talking about She's Devoted, who drew in. Yeah,
a lightly raced mare for Richard Baltus. Probably needed the race last time out down at Del Mar in a 5-furlong turf sprint, and she did rally nicely to get up for second. So second race off the layoff, a darn good trainer in Richard Baltus. She has talent, but does she? She's going to have to run her best race if she wants to defeat this field, though. What are your thoughts on She's Devoted, the 13 with and you get Rispoli aboard?
Yeah, I like everything about her. Just she's quite a bit slower than these coming into the race. So it would take a drastic jump up. Now, that's not impossible, second off a layoff but she is 5. So, to me, she's a bit of a stretch. Some of the others we've talked about as price plays, I'm a little more inclined to go with those than she used to voted. I don't think she's absolutely impossible, but for me, there's some others I would choose before that one.
And we got the call for riders up for this this 8th race. 10 races on the Santa Anita card on this Saturday, and we're going to see. This is a race that if you're in the lead, you're just going, oh my goodness, this is just really difficult.
Yes.
And then if you're behind, obviously this is a race where you got to take a shot. I think I think everyone's really got to take a shot. I'll be surprised unless some people put their plays in and don't care, either taking either two favorites in this race.
Yeah, the only ones who might be the guys at the very top of the leaderboard, maybe the first and second. They're thinking, if I can get 2-1, I can get $8 or $10. That might be worth holding off the guy in second or catching the guy in first. But other than those players, I think people are going to be on price horses. And what's good about a big field, it's not like when you have a 7-horse field, there's only one long shot and everybody in the contest is on that long shot. Here you've got, 7 or 8 horses you can choose from. And if you hit this race, it's not like everybody else is going to be on the same horse. So you're going to make a good move relative to the field if you can hit it. So let's play that game a little bit. Let's say you are the leader, Steve Aronson. You're in first place. This is the 3 races to go. You got the 2 favorites, and you said between the 2 you kind of like, the 9 Warren Showtime. Would you go with that favorite to kind of pad your lead, or you're going to go with one of the longer priced horses? And if so, who would that be?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I respect Warren Showtime, and if I was playing like a normal day at the races, she's the one I'm going to definitely be using in my like a pick 5 or something like that. But Eddie's New Dream, the 11, big price at 17-1. That filly interests me. And you're going from turf to dirt, or dirt to turf, excuse me, and shortening up a little bit. I think she's got a bit of quality about her. Now she'd have to still run her career best, but she'd be one I'd be looking at. And then also Revelation. Now she would have to come from the clouds, and that's the big problem. And she's never gone down the hill before in a race, and that's another little tidbit that might work against her. But she's a big price at 25-1 as well. And then California Cook, the 2-horse that I mentioned right at the beginning, she's another one that I would be considering, and she's double digits as well. So it's one of those 3, and that's the problem. When you like so many horses in a race, you gotta pare it down. It is just pure price the determining factor, Chris, for you, or does it matter how much you actually like a horse as not just being dependent on the price?
Well, it's definitely both. And there's a long ways to go in the contest. We're talking about day 1. So to me, I would go with the horse that you like. That's a good price. Now, probably not Warren Showtime or Legs Galore, just because they don't help you much from just strategically in contest. But after that, I would go with the horse I think I like the best. If it's 10-1 or 20-1, if they're all about the same, then I just let price determine it. But if there's one that I like better than the others, and it's 10-1, I'll go with that one over the 20-1 shot in a contest setting, or betting the race as well. So for me.
But so the horses are warming up here for race number 8. And we want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Flo-Cal Faceoff. This is day number 1 of a 2-day online handicapping tournament, of which the winner will get $180,000 for the win. And there's day money as well. The day 1 leader after race 10 will get $12,500. second 7,500, third 3,750, and fourth $1,250.
Well, and the winner will be eligible for a bonus.
Yes.
If they somehow won all 3 contests in the triple, they could win a $2 million bonus. And if they won one of the remaining 2 contests, they could win a $1 million bonus. So,
high level segue there, Chris.
so lots of money on the line, including the $500,000 in total prize pool. And it's, getting interesting now. This is probably the best chance for a price today, for these 3 races that we're looking at. If you were going to say, where are we going to get a price? The last race, there's a good chance you could too, but this is probably the one where there's quite a few horses that have a shot. There's a few we haven't mentioned that we might want to at least mention as they're heading up towards the gate.
Okay.
One of those is the 10-horse Setamar, who's kind of a hard-knocking 6-year-old mare. She's run some pretty good races in her career, that would fit in here. There's no reason to think she couldn't run a winning race if she got the right trip. And she's another at a pretty big price. She's 14-1 right now. She'll probably go off at about that price. That's one you could consider that we hadn't mentioned yet, but certainly wouldn't be a shocker to me if she were to run well.
Yeah, I mean, she ran her race against Warren Showtime and finished second behind her. But I think the pace of this race is going to be a little bit quicker than what Setamar kind of got a pretty cozy trip stalking a slow early pace. So for me, even though she's drifted up to 14-1, and I'm sure some players will take a look at her. It's just just in terms of of my top 3 or 4, she doesn't have an X through her name. Let's just put it that way. But I do tend to like others in this spot.
And the running style, you're right. They have to kind of out-finish Warren Showtime. To me, either Warren Showtime has to not fire or have, traffic problems to not be the best closer in the race, right? I mean, if she gets the trip and fires, she'll probably beat all the other closers. Just like if Legs Galore, breaks alertly and is fit, she's probably going to win on the front end. You got to kind of hope things don't go that way. And if they don't for both of those, then all of a sudden it opens the door for a lot of other horses. So who's the other front running type that if Legs Galore weren't to hold on, but, that might get that tracking trip and maybe outfinish Legs Galore and hold off the closers? Who would that be in this race?
Well, let's, maybe even though I'm not a big fan of her, but I'm sure she'll show a little early, like the 8 Governor Got Even, maybe the 3 Super Game for Brian Coroner, who was a easy winner last time out, who ran super in that win on opening day at Santa Anita on December 26th. And, she's won at the distance in the past. And so, but the top 2, it's just in terms of speed figures, have got, such lofty speed figures that everyone else, you're just kind of hoping you have to run your A game to defeat a mare such as Warren Showtime or Legs Galore in this race. But now Warren Showtime has taken the favorites role at 2-1, and then Legs Galore second choice at 5-2 as they walk their way up the hill, getting ready to start the loading process in race 8 momentarily.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, how when we refresh the leaderboard after they get started, where those top players went, because I think you'll see. I'll be really surprised if they're all on the same horse like we've seen in a few races. This race I think will have a pretty good spread of plays. I kind of dissed Nardini, but I think of the front runners that if Legs Galore doesn't get the job done, she's the front runner that might be able to track and finish. I don't like the price. I wouldn't play her, but if I had to pick another front runner, that would probably be it. Although you did mention that one horse, Alice Marble. she's run some good dirt races. She gets Flavian Pratt, but she's kind of stuck on the rail. It'll be interesting to see if Pratt can work some magic and, get that horse to do something from off the rail. If she takes, her turf races haven't been that good, even though she's bred for the turf, but, who knows? Maybe she could be the one surprise horse on the front end, but we're about to find out.
Yeah, she had a little bit of trouble in that last turf race at Del Mar, in which she finished a decent third. But they're loading up here for this 8th race, the Sunshine Millions Filly and Mare Turf Sprint. And favorites, 2 favorites, Legs Galore, Warren Showtime. I think Warren Showtime was the favorite when they were going to the gate. Strong third choice, Nardini. Then everyone else is a big long shot. This is a race I think the handicappers were circling when they got their PPs for the first time as a potential long shot race, and we'll see what's going to happen here as there's just 1 or 2 more left to load for this 8th race at Santa Anita.
Yeah, this definitely looked like a race where we might, if the 2 favorites run into some trouble, anything could happen. And we'll find out here shortly.
Looks like the 13 She's Devoted is going up into the gates and backing off there at the last second. But we should see a lot of different horses on the leaderboard in terms of what they're going to take. And they're off here in that 8th race. And Legs Galore got off to a good start.
Yes, she did. Nobody went with her on the leaderboard. We can refresh that. But the leader went with Eddie's New Dream, the horse that both of us were very interested in. And the runner-up, their second place, is on Nardini. And Nardini's up there along with Alice Marble. So it's kind of unfolding the way we thought it would early on. Now we'll just find out if Legs Galore can hang on that front end, or if one of the closers like Warren Showtime can come from out of it.
So Legs Galore's on the lead. Nardini's on the outside for Giuseppe in second. And there's Alice Marble, the one horse along the inside. And we'll be able to get off the inside. We'll see if Alice Marble's good enough. But Legs Galore's holding on to the lead with really no one using this mare. But it looks like it's 12-1 here through the stretch.
Yeah, Warren Showtime really flat here.
Yeah.
Alice Marble running a big race. And Eddie's New Dream was coming up, probably going to pick up the pieces in third, but nobody on the leaderboard had that horse. But the big play was Alice Marble, ran second, get a decent place price for Kyle King, and that'll be some very valuable points, probably 10, 15 points. Could move him up, all the way up, possibly even to second place. So for him, he was the big benefactor of that result. And when looking through the leaderboard, we have to scroll all the way down to, I'm trying to find anybody on the first page of the leaderboard. Nobody had Legs Galore. So not that I disagree with that. It probably wasn't a good contest play, but it's a little surprising. None of them played that horse.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the place and show pools. There was a bit more place money on Warren Showtime than Legs Galore, so there would be a decent place price for a 5-2 shot because the one horse who got bet down a little bit right at the end there, 9-1, Alice Marble got second. So yeah, probably be about $9, $10, $11 to place, and that will move up Kyle King a spot. Won't get to Giuseppe in second, but every spot that you pick up is always beneficial, especially as we get to the end of day 1 here in the Flo-Cal Faceoff.
Yeah, and Legs Galore was very impressive. That was sort of a merry-go-round race, though. Wasn't a lot of movement at all.
Yep.
So maybe that course was favoring the speed a bit, but you can't knock the effort for Legs Galore. She had run well fresh. And clearly, she can handle the downhill turf course. Nice mare. She's probably going to win a few more races, assuming she stays healthy. And 5-2. is not a terrible price on that horse, but it's not going to help anybody on the first page of the leaderboard.
No, and just looking at the early fractions going down the hill, 22 and a fifth, 22.27, with a final time of just a tick or a hundredth of a second under 113. That wasn't the fastest pace in the world at all, and Legs Galore was able to clear off early on in that eighth race, the Sunshine Millions Filly and Mare Turf Sprint, and made every call a winning one, and is not going to really mean too much with the leaderboard in this eighth race. So not as much drama as we were hoping for, Chris, with a big field like that. But it's official. And Legs Galore pays $7.20 to win, $5.20 to place. And the one, Alice Marble, got $9.40, and that will put Kyle King into third place once the leaderboard does update with just 2 races to go on day 1 of the Flo-Cal Faceoff, this big online handicapping tournament for HorseTourneys.com.
Yeah, and but so that one, the big winners there really were the people near the top of the leaderboard. They could take a deep breath. They survived that race.
Big time.
Even if they didn't have the winner, they didn't lose ground to anybody, so they're probably pretty happy about that.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But let's we have a couple minutes, so we've got plenty of time in between races. We talked about the bonuses for if you win 2 of the 3 contests in the tourney triple, you get a $2 million bonus. If you win all 3, and if you win 2 of the 3, you get $1 million bonus. But the tourney triple, what is it? Well, it's this tournament right here that we're broadcasting, the Flo-Cal Faceoff. The next one is April 9th and 10th, the Players' Championship, which will be a lot of fun. And then the final one in August, don't know the exact dates yet, but a very popular contest on the online circuit, the Spa and Surf Showdown with Del Mar and Saratoga. But there's, I think that's the updated leaderboard. Yes, Kyle King moves up into third with $144, with getting that $9 with Alice Marble. Elio moved up to sixth, $116.40. Also had Alice Marble. Shane Irish also picked up a few spots. Very tightly packed leaderboard as you get down to the 10 through 25. But when everyone's going for long shots and one of the favorites win, there's not going to be a whole lot of change in the leaderboard. And one other thing, Chris, is the points that you get. The top 100, they get points. And the leader will get the winner will get 100 points all the way down to 100, which will only get 1 point. We talked about the bonuses, but the aggregate score for the 3 contests that I mentioned, the Flo-Cal Faceoff, the Players' Championship in early April, and then the Spa and Surf Showdown, the top point getter gets a BCBC spot, Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge, in case you didn't know, as well as an NHC spot. And then second place in the point standings will get a BCBC spot. In the third place, the big one, which is a live event that HorseTourneys.com has put on for the last few years. And so the third place finisher will get an entry paid for the big one. So there's all sorts of things going on with bonuses, the points, and obviously the money. $500,000 total pool in this Flo-Cal Faceoff. But we'll see how that develops as we go through the series. But we got race number 9 at Santa Anita, and it is the Cal Cup Sprint. going 6 furlongs in this race. And just updating my tote board, see who's getting bet in this spot. Looks like the 3 horse, Brickyard Ride, a morning line favorite, coming off of a long layoff, but winner of the San Carlos back in 2021, is your favorite right now at 3-2.
Yeah, and he's the kind of horse that, if he runs his race, he wins. He's just really quick and really fast. But this is the first really long layoff he's ever had in his career, so you don't know how he'll come back. He's Barnes not known for firing right off the bench. So there's some question marks around that, and likely even money. This is the kind of horse, definitely if you're like the top of the leaderboard, and it's just probably no reason to play this horse for anyone to play it. I mean, even if you're near the top of the leaderboard, the amount you could win on this horse is not going to move you up. So to me, they're all going to be looking past Brickyard Ride, and I would be surprised to see him on anybody's choice when we refresh the leaderboard after the race starts, in this race. This horse will be even money on the tote board and probably about 50-1 in the contest, to be my prediction.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look at some of the will pays, and yep, Brickyard Ride, significant favorite in the double pool, and also pretty good favorite in the pick 3 pool as well. So no doubt about it, Brickyard Ride is going to go off as the favorite in this race. And you mentioned, when he runs his race quite a bit, but 8 for 18 lifetime with only 1 second place finish. So he either runs great or he tends not to run not so great often. But his last race, obviously something happened in the Pat O'Brien. That's really kind of throw a line through that race, and he looks like the speed. There's a lot of horses coming out of that Kerry Grant's race, which we'll talk about in just a second. But I don't see really too much other early speed in this race, which is a dilemma because for the contest, Brickyard Ride is just kind of a horse at this stage. We're not talking about the end game, and right now the leader's got a big enough lead that he doesn't have to play Brickyard Ride to block anything for the day money. But there's really not a whole lot of other speed in this race, Chris. I was just wondering your opinion on maybe race shape in this race before we get into some specific horses that we'll take a look at.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Brickyard Ride has one way of going, and he's the quickest. So, he was going to clear no matter what, and So, I just think it'll be whether or not he's fit is going to be the question. And these horses are probably reluctant to try to engage with him early because that will compromise their chances, right? So, I would expect to see Brickyard Ride open up. One thing interesting about him, he's very quick, but he's not a great gate horse. So if he gets away slow, there's 2 ways I see him losing. One, he's just not fit, and that's still a question. The other is if he breaks a step slow and gets shut off, then that could completely change the race. And so, to me, he's not unbeatable, and you can make a case for several others in here.
Yes.
So if you were going to go beyond him, who would be your choice to go with if you're going to pick against Brickyard Ride?
Yeah. Once again, there's a few, not as many as I had in the last race. But one that I do like is the 6 horse. Let's Get Lucky for Brian Coroner, who currently is getting strong support at 4-1. So he's the horse that is getting bet off of the morning line at 12 down to 4. And that race at Del Mar, I liked it a whole lot. He kind of broke out a little bit in that race, but he was, the eventual winner was the horse that was on the front end, and he definitely bumped with the horse towards his outside at the start. And I thought it was not all bumps are created equal. That's why I like watching head-on replays and seeing what the chart caller saw when they decide to put a bump at the start. And I thought it was a pretty good bump. And Let's Get Lucky had to do the dirty work in that race on November 27th and chase the leader around the racetrack. And he had every business. He could have finished, off the board, but he hung in there. He almost got second, but finished third in that race. And he might be sitting in second or third early on in this race. And Let's Get Lucky is probably my top choice, though I'm not really thrilled with the early money on him at 4-1.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. That price is disappointing on him. Definitely a bad morning line there. He's not going to go off anywhere near 12-1. He may float up a bit above the 4-1, but I wouldn't argue with anybody playing him, though. I think after Brickyard Ride, he has as good a chance as any of them. And most of those aren't paying a whole lot either. Looking at the odds board and trying to find somebody at a bigger price, probably the horse that's kind of interesting as a price play in here is the 5-horse Loudmouth.
Okay.
Who, he comes off an $80,000 claim by some really sharp connections, Sadler and Hronis. So, they plunked down 80 grand and then they put him in the state bred stakes race. The horse's recent form's not very good, although he's had some excuses. But, he has some past races that certainly could win. He does come from behind, so he's going to have to hope, that some of the other speed horses try to chase Brickyard Ride and they all tire late. But, if I was going to pick the price horse, that horse is kind of interesting at a big price, Loudmouth, the 5-horse.
Yeah, going from Steve Knapp to Sadler is definitely the trainer angle that some handicappers would utilize if you're going to choose the 5-horse Loudmouth. Now, there's a race, the Cary Grant Stakes, a race on November 21st, and a lot of the horses are coming out of. I think it's five horses coming out of that race, or at least they ran in that race, in which that Principe Carlo won that race at a big price. What was your opinion of that race, Chris? And do you like any of the horses that are coming out of it? I'll let you go first. I had some thoughts on it, but wanted to get your thoughts on that Cary Grant Stakes, in which Principe Carlo won at a big price on that afternoon.
Well, I thought he deserved to win. It was kind of a blanket finish. So those top three, Principe, Carlo, Positivity, Cult Fiction, they're all contenders in here for sure. The only thing I don't like about Principe Carlo is he has a hard time stringing together good races.
Mm-hmm.
So probably the time to bet him was last time, not this time.
Yep.
But you're getting a pretty good price right now. He's 10-1 on the morning line. But, the other two horses in there, we already talked about Loudmouth, who kind of had a tough trip in there. But Positivity, he was real game in that race. So was Cult Fiction. Principe Carlo kind of was able to close off of those two who were kind of dueling on the front. So, any of those three could win. I don't have a strong opinion. Probably I'd be against Principe Carlo, but at that price, I wouldn't be talking people out of him. Between Principe Carlo and Cult Fiction, I'd probably lean towards Cult Fiction, but there's not a whole lot to separate those two either.
Yeah. Positivity and Cult Fiction got great trips in that Cary Grant Stakes. I don't think the early fractions were that fast for a stakes race going 7 furlongs at Del Mar. Positivity dug in along the inside. Cult Fiction faded very, very late after having the lead in mid-stretch. A horse that finished off the board in that race, Peaceful Transfer, the two. Now, this is, if you're way down the leaderboard and you're looking for a huge long shot, I've seen worse 30-1 shots. I'm kind of surprised he's drifted up off the morning line of 12, but he didn't get off to a good start in that race. And then the pace was slow, and he was behind horses, and kind of ran unevenly. But no one was really making up huge ground. Principe Carlo wasn't more than a couple lengths off the lead in that race, and Peaceful Transfer sat in second last most of the race. It didn't run that badly. he's a 30-1. He's a big price. But he's one that I thought if you're down, you need something, might be one that you're going to want to take a look at.
Yeah, I mean, in the past, he's run some pretty good races. From a class standpoint, I don't quite know if he stacks up with these, but yeah, I think he wouldn't be impossible for sure. He didn't have the best of trips that last time, so yeah, why not? I could see that as a possibility. I mean, if Brickyard Ride gets tired or doesn't break or something, if nothing else, he could kind of take the air out of all the speed horses, and this could be sort of a falling apart, crazy late closer like Loudmouth or Peaceful Transfer, or even Rifey, right? I mean,
that's what I was going for. I was just waiting till you were done, because if you're talking about a closer, Rifey is one that you can certainly take a look at. One at Los Al from the rail post. I know he comes from the clouds, but in those sprint races at Los Al, I'm not a big fan of that inside post. So the fact that Rifey was able to mow him down in the stretch and win at Los Al in his last dirt start kind of impressed me a little bit. Now, granted, it was just a one other than allowance optional claiming race at Los Al. And then last time on the turf, I didn't think he liked the turf at all. He just he was way back there. Yeah, I know he's a deep closer, but he, at the 3/16 pole, he was still in dead last. I thought he actually ran on. Granted, he was closing early on, was dead last early on, but flew late there to get fifth. But I kind of like him back on the dirt, the one horse Rifey.
Yeah, he gets a little weight off. He draws the rail, so he's going to drop back and save ground. And if they do tire up front and it falls apart, he could clunk up there for a piece and maybe even win it all. He does have to improve. He's probably the slowest horse in the race, but certain race shapes, a lot of times it doesn't really matter, how fast you run in the past. It's if you get the right setup, you can pull the upset, and that might be the case with this horse.
Yeah, so I'm just taking a look at probably the two that I'd be looking at, three, I guess, because I wouldn't play Brickyard Ride if I was in the lead or in second or in the top 10. I'd be playing somebody else. And I'm between like the 6, 1 and 2. And Let's Get Lucky has tactical speed, and the other two will probably come from a little bit off the pace, especially Peaceful Transfer, even though was the cutting back in distance from 7 furlongs to 6 furlongs. But horses are coming onto the track for the Cal Cup Sprint, $150,000, 6 furlongs the distance, and the favorite Brickyard Ride is at 8-5. But this is a race. When we only got a field of 8. The only way I could even endorse Brickyard Ride is just the fact that it is a shorter type of field, and maybe some people are going to just want that winner and go for it and take maybe $8. But for me, Brickyard Ride is the controlling speed in this race.
Yeah, I think maybe the IndyCar fans would go with that horse. You
do. Yes, you do know that I am outside of Indianapolis, so
there you go. So that might.
So therefore, I know a few. What's the proper term? Gearheads, or not the band Motorhead, but
Treadheads. Okay.
Okay, there you go. But yes.
So let's play the game. You're the leader, Steve Aronson. Who are you going to go with here? Try to keep your lead.
I might go with Let's Get Lucky, the 6, if I was in the lead. If I'm below, if there's how many people are in this whole thing? It's like 376 entries.
Yeah, there's 300. Over 300.
If I'm in the bottom half, I'm definitely playing the 1 or the 2. For me, that's just my personal opinion. I'm not that high on positivity or Colt Fiction. In Brickyard Ride, even though he's the most likely winner, just in terms of his price, I can't really get on Brickyard Ride in this race. So if I'm Giuseppe or Kyle, second or third, I might go with the 6. But if I'm looking for a bomb, a price horse, if I'm in the bottom half of the field, I'm definitely going to take a shot. I probably go with Rifey over the 2, but to me, I like them both at a decent price.
Yeah, I kind of like the way you're thinking. For me, the same. If I were near the top, first, second, or third, I'd probably go with Let's Get Lucky. And he's 9-2 now. That'd be enough to move you into the lead or pad your lead if you're the leader. So I think we're on the same horse there. If I wanted to go for more of a price, I'm a little farther down the leaderboard, and I want to take a shot at moving up, having a chance for the day money. I would probably go with the 5 Loudmouth. I just like those connections. I've seen them move horses up, and he has that sort of back class, the ability to win. Yep. So it's not like he has to do something he's never done. It just has to find it again, and that's what happens a lot of times when you see a horse change barns. They can get them back to their past glory. And I think, he'll benefit from the race shape if it falls apart late. But I kind of see, your pick of Rifey, I kind of get that as an interesting other horse that might become clunking up late. So either one of those, I think, would be pretty good plays. I'm kind of with you. Positivity, Cult Fiction, I wouldn't blame people for if they like that horse. I don't like it as much, but if they do, they're kind of the same as Let's Get Lucky. That might be the horse that they would play, if that's their opinion. So I'd expect to see a pretty good sprinkling of all these horses on the leaderboard when we refresh it after the gates open up.
Yep. Brickyard Ride is at 3-2. Was 8-5 earlier, not coming down a tick, and it might even come down a little bit more. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes off at 7-5 or lower. Second choice at 3-1, Positivity, who finished second in the Cary Grant last time out, and then 4-1 on Let's Get Lucky. You got bet down from a 12-1 morning line, and I thought in his last race against Open Company, allowance optional claimers, I thought that this gelding ran pretty darn good. When you watch the head-on start, he got bumped pretty good at the break, and then chased the winner around the racetrack, and just got beat for the place late. And now back in versus Calbreds, but in a stakes race, and he's looking for his first stakes win is the 6 Let's Get Lucky. About 2 minutes to the 9th race, the penultimate race on day 1 of the Flo-Cal Faceoff, which Steve Harrison is with the lead with $157.40. Pretty darn good job. He had the big price horse at Gulfstream Park, which a lot of the top 10 at this point used, and we'll see if we're going to get Brickyard Ride or if it's going to be a potential upset. I guess everything but the big favorite is going to be a little bit of an upset, as Brickyard Ride mentioned. I thought it'd go down to 7-5, now 6-5 on the board on Brickyard Ride as they approach the gates.
Yeah, I think a big key to this race is what the other speed horses do, in there with Brickyard Ride. I mean, they have to try to, is anybody going to try to put pressure on Brickyard Ride, and are they going to get sucked into going faster than they're used to going? If that happens, it could get really interesting late. If they're all reluctant to engage with Brickyard Ride early, he could gallop away on the front end. The other key to this is to see how Brickyard Ride gets away from the gate. He has a history of sometimes breaking poorly. He hasn't raced in a while. He may be, so that's something to keep an eye on too. I mean, I think that'll go a long ways to determining what happens in this race.
Yeah,
how he breaks, and what the other riders like Johnny V and and others that have speed horses, DeSormo and Principe Carlo, are they going to try to put pressure on him, or are they just going to stalk?
Yep, as the horses are now behind the gate, and they're going to be loading up here for the 9th race. And I don't think we'll see too many Brickyard rides on the first page of the leaderboard, but you never know. Sometimes, even though this is a live contest, some people on day one might just put their picks in. So anything, I guess, is possible when potentially using a favorite such as Brickyard Ride in this race. But starting to load up here, and for me, like I said, if I was close to the leaderboard or close top 20, I'd probably be leaning towards a 6. But Rifey, that price might be at the same time. I might be like, I can't not use a horse that I like that is a big price at 25 to 1. So not in the contest, but those probably be my top 2 as the horses are loading up.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a big debate on whether or not you should play an even money shot like this in a contest. Maybe for another time. For me, it's probably not a great play in this race, but you hear some others that might argue, well, that could be the difference between winning or losing the contest. But we'll see what they went with, because they're out of the gate now, and we'll.
Yeah, and Brickyard Ride got off to a pretty good start. And look at that, Giuseppe did use the 3, and Steve used the 6 horse Let's Get Lucky, and they're 1-2 battling in the early going.
Yeah. Unfortunately for the others, Brickyard Ride did get a good start. It does look like they're trying to push the pace a little with the 6. That we'll see if that works out well or not for him, and we'll see if anybody can take advantage of that and make any kind of a move, late move. But right now, Brickyard Ride's looking pretty good.
21.71 the time for the opening quarter. The 6 has kind of been used here, and the Brickyard Ride is still on the front end, and on the outside is the 7 Principe Carlo trying to get up into second. Further out is the 2 Peaceful Transfer, and up the rail is the 4 Positivity. But it's going to be the favorites, Brickyard Ride, who's going to prevail in here, and the second is the 4. So Giuseppe, what was the price? Was it 6 to 5 even money?
Yeah, he may get $7 out of that maybe. The 4 ran second, so he did cut into the lead. It's not going to put him in the lead, but it will cut the lead some. And a few people had Positivity. The 4. Elio Imbornone, I'm not sure, I might have butchered his last name. Don't know the gentleman. Had the 4. Alan Lefebvre, I guess is how you'd say that. I'm getting
Lefebvre?
Lefebvre? I don't know. It could be either. So 4 Positivity. A couple people had that one. They'll move up a little bit, but we kind of had chalk here in these first 2 races of the live stream.
And obviously, Steve, I don't think he'll, look at Brickyard Ride drifted up to 8 to 5 in the end. But, it's in terms of the leaderboard, I'm just taking a look here at the exact margin so I can do my math in my head.
Yeah, there's really not much movement other than Giuseppe closed the gap on Steve and the top 2. So he is going to be able to be, even play a favorite and be able to move into first. So in hindsight, maybe that Brickyard Ride play will look like, a great play. Just going down the rest of the leaderboard, they were pretty spread out, it looks like.
Yeah.
Not too many Brickyard Rides as we'd expect, only a few. But for those who did, they're going to inch their way up leaderboard.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and who knows? That might be the difference between winning or losing day money for Giuseppe today, and maybe the contest overall tomorrow. So it may turn out to be the smartest play on the day. we'll find
Yeah,
out.
so it's just a subplot in terms of the day money, but 12.5 versus 180,000, you might have a plan and you're going to stick to it, especially when you're doing well. But it's just a difference of about $8.80 between first and second. So we'll see when this race goes official. And
yeah, it looks like he's going to get 920.
Yeah, it looks like 920. So we have a new leader. Look at this.
Yeah, it was enough. I'm surprised. The horse floated up to 8-5.
Yep.
And that actually got him the lead. So he looks like a genius at this point with going with the even money favorite. And certainly didn't hurt him.
Well, let's update the leaderboard because it is official, and Giuseppe Petrella has vaulted to the lead by 40 cents. There it is, 40 cents. Giuseppe is in the lead. Steve Arison back in second at 157.40. Kyle King is in third. Albion Benton fourth at 134.80. Marks is in fifth. And John Nichols used Brickyard Ride and moves up a bit. And then Elio and Allen got second place money with Positivity. And they are now in seventh and eighth. So there's one more race to go in day number one. And I want to thank everyone for watching this live stream for the Flo-Cal Faceoff, day one of a 2-day online handicapping tournament where $180,000 will go to the winner. And tomorrow we'll cover the last 4 races on the stream, last 4 races at Santa Anita, and we'll see how it all plays out. But we still got one more race to go, Chris, on this day one, a stakes race, the Cal Cup Oaks.
Yeah, and an interesting one. Another kind of race that contest players really like to play, a big field. Mm-hmm. Not a standout individually. There will be 2 or 3 horses vying for favoritism. So if there's a horse you like, you'll get a decent price. You're not going to get even money like we saw in the last race. And there's also the opportunity to find some bigger prices as well. So this is kind of an ideal contest race, a great one to end the contest on. And it'll be interesting to see what the leaders are on and what long shots people land on, and to see who you like, Bill, in this race. If you were going to pick a winner, who are you going to go with? Because they all have a few question marks, but they all have some, potential upside.
Yeah, if you say who is my top choice, and just based off of that, when I, did the handicapping and took a look, the one I like the most, and unfortunately she's the favorite right now, is the 3-horse Vivacious Vanessa for Gary Mandela. And I believe Juan Hernandez is aboard. And I thought that was something to note because Hernandez was on the 7-horse Professor's Pride and the 11 Rose Dawson. And those are 2 of the other favorites in the race, and Hernandez landed on the 3 Vivacious Vanessa, who when she broke the maiden in her debut, just rallied really nicely, and I liked her upside. Last time out she ran on dirt, and she ran okay, but I think that the return back to turf, stretching back out from a sprint to a route, Vivacious Vanessa, if she can get the trip, now she has a decent post, so she shouldn't be that hampered around that first turn. But still getting the trip in the late stages is always a big question mark in a huge field such as this.
Yeah, I mean, she's the one, like you said, her one race, she overcame a lot of trouble and won. So she has the ability to overcome some trouble. She's proven at the distance on the surface, and that's where she has a bit of an edge on some of the other horses in here that are trying the turf for the first time. I mean, that are favored. The 1 Big Novel and the 7 Professor's Pride, they have never been on the turf before. So that's a question mark. Professor's Pride's got a lot of speed and probably will be the one to catch. Has a good rider, but that's not always the best way to win on the turf, is winging it on the front end. Big Novel's really bred more for the turf. In fact, you can almost argue this horse is a turf horse. It's bred to run on the turf. Maybe that's the long-term plan for this horse. So it seems more likely to make the transition to me of those two. It definitely has some tactical speed. It draws the rail, has a good rider, a good trainer. So to me, of those three favorites, the one I like the least is probably Professor's Pride. Although, maybe the horse can go out and steal the race. But, to me, the other two are more interesting. And I might lean towards Big Novel a bit, but I certainly wouldn't go against Vivacious Vanessa either. They both make sense. And if you're on the top of the leaderboard now between, Giuseppe and Steve on top of that board, they're 40 cents apart. They want the winner, right? They want the winner. And they probably want whoever they think is the most likely winner, because if that horse does win and they have it, they're more than likely going to win the contest. There is a chance sometimes when you play a shorter priced horse in a big field and a long shot runs second, someone could still pass you up. So there's always that possibility. But you would think that those top two are really looking at who they think is the most likely winner, and that's who they'll go with. Sounds like for you, that would be the 3-horse Vivacious Vanessa. And for me, it would probably be the 1 Big Novel.
I'm glancing at some of the will pays to kind of get an idea of where the odds might go. And I'm looking, and Professor's Pride will probably will get some more money, and just because she's the favorite in a couple of the pools. But Vivacious Vanessa certainly is, I think, in the top 2 of pretty much all the will pays. Favorite, the 3 is the favorite in the double pool. The 7's the favorite slightly in the pick 3 pool. The pick 4, the 7 is a favorite, and the 3 is the second choice.
A good tool is the formulator projected odds, and it takes into account all that and does the math for you and factors in a few other things. And it has right now Big Novel projected to go off at 7-2, Vivacious Vanessa 2-1, and Professor's Pride 7-2. So it has Vivacious Vanessa as the likely favorite, and then the other two behind her, not that far behind, and pretty much at the same price. So that's enough of the favorites. Lots of other options in here. Who's someone you like beyond those top 3?
Well, I guess if I'm going for more of a price, the 8-horse Dendira, I think, is much better on turf than dirt. She finished behind Professor's Pride and Big Novel last time out on dirt at Losal. And just didn't run a race and finished nondescript 5th. But when she runs on turf, she seems to be much better, and I think that's where her future is. Sadler's the trainer. DeSormo's aboard. DeSormo aboard Dendira for the first time. Has some speed, so I don't think that she'll be that far behind Professor's Pride in this race, and she's a good price at 11-1. Did you give her a shot at all, Chris?
I'd say I wouldn't talk you out of that one at all. Definitely, I think is better on the turf. Her turf race fits with these horses. So got it. That Curatolo's won a couple races at the meet. Seems like a decent rider. Has to work a trip from that 8 post. But certainly that's a contender. If I were looking for a really big price, I would probably go with the 12 Vaping Angel.
Okay.
The post isn't good, and I'm not a big fan of Mike Smith on the turf. But that's another horse I think really ran better in its first turf try. I think it has some upside. It's going to need to work a trip, but it's one that will get overlooked on the tote. And it's to me the one that might, light things up at a big price. If I was going for a really big price.
Yeah, 17-1 right now on the 12 Vaping Angel. Won the little stakes race up north at Golden Gate Fields. Turf course had a little bit of moisture in it, so fractions, even though they don't look fast on paper, but when they go 140 and 4/5 for the mile, 23 and change for the opening course is a pretty fast opening fraction. And Vaping Angel stayed off of that early pace and then mowed them down in the stretch to win at a huge price. And like you said, the post and Mike Smith on the outside. I can hear the yelling on Twitter right now. If this filly gets in contention, but gets stuck out wide, people will love to blame Mike Smith. But there's another contender in here that we haven't mentioned. Is getting a little bit of money. Well, not that much money, but she's in single digits. That's the 11-horse Rose Dawson. Making career start number 2, won at Los Al by 4 lengths and didn't gun to the lead. And so I always like seeing first-time starters that can win from a little bit off the pace, but outside post as well. First time on turf, first time going a route of ground. What were your thoughts on the 11 Rose Dawson?
Well, that race was really slow, which is a negative, but the horse really is bred to take to the turf and route, and you can't argue the connections. But this is asking an awful lot of a horse in its second start. First time on turf, first time routing in a stakes race from the 11 hole to win, and so I would want more of a price. I think it's Pratt is one that's getting bet here, and I just think. Though I'm not saying the horse couldn't win, but it's a big ask. I think this horse is underlay, and there's many others in here I would prefer over that one.
But horses will be going to the paddock or in the paddock right now, getting saddled for the final race of the day, the 10th race, the Cal Cup Oaks. But let's go to our interview once again with the communications director of HorseTourneys.com, Mr. Eric Wing. The Flo-Cal Faceoff is upon us. It's the first big money online tournament for HorseTourneys.com in 2022, and we are pleased to welcome in Eric Wing, the communications director of HorseTourneys.com. Eric, how are you?
Doing great. How are you, Bill?
I'm doing fabulous. Well, tell me about the Flo-Cal Faceoff. I know it's a 2-day event, but tell me about the buy-in, the format, any other details that you wanted to share with everyone.
It's a $1,500 buy-in for this competition in which players make mythical $2 win-and-place selections on one horse in every race of the Gulfstream and Santa Anita cards, both Saturday and Sunday. The scoring is quite simple. Whoever does the best wins the big money. And in this case, last year, the big money was $206,000 for Alan Levitt of Baltimore, Maryland. And for our later legs in what we call the Tourney Triple, we've got the Players' Championship on April 9th and 10th. That's a $2,000 buy-in. And the Sponsor Showdown in August, a $2,500 buy-in. And for those later 2 legs, case people don't have $2,000 or $2,500 lying around under their sofa cushions, we run low-cost buy-ins all throughout the year. You can qualify for as little as $50 or $100. You don't have to be wealthy to find your way into this tournament, which is a nice thing. We like to make it open to as many people as possible.
Well, you also mentioned this is part of that triple, and there's a point system and some bonuses that could total over $1 million or more. So tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, you're right, Chris. Last year's Flo-Cal, for example, had a final purse of $570,000. The Sponsor Showdown it was the highest online purse ever at $640,000. But on top of that, we have a bonus system encompassing the 3 events. If you win all 3, you get a $2 million bonus. If you win 2 out of the 3 legs, you get a $1 million bonus. And even if no one wins more than 1 leg of the Tourney Triple Series, we have 3 guaranteed bonus prizes. If you finish in the top 100 of any of the events, you get points. You get 100 points for finishing first, you get 1 point for finishing 100th, and so on down the line. And whoever has the most points will get both a BC seat and an NHC seat. Second place in the point standings gets a Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge seat, and third place earns a spot in the big one this coming September. So last year, for example, Anthony Matera finished third and earned $41,000 in the Flo-Cal Faceoff. He continued to do well in the next two legs, and he wound up being the points leader and got that BC and NHC seat for doing best overall during the course of the 2021 Tourney Triple.
Wow. So a lot of big money is on the line. Thanks so much, Eric, for taking the time. And we're looking forward to a big Flo-Cal Faceoff here on HorseTourneys.com.
I'm looking forward to it too, Bill. Thanks very much for having me on.
Thanks so much, Eric. We got about 8 minutes to race number 10. It's the Cal Cup Oaks, a field of 12 going a mile on the turf for 3-year-old fillies, a purse of $200,000. And Chris, we talked about a few of the contenders, but one I think we still have to mention is the 6-horse Eleuthera, who is still a maiden and putting the blinkers on for the first time for trainer Ben Cecil.
Yeah, still a maiden, but has some pretty good turf races. And its last race was off a layoff. It didn't get the job done, but it ran a pretty good second, and it should have got a lot out of that race. I think it has a lot of upside. Wouldn't be surprised at all to see that horse get a good trip. It has some tactical speed, so no reason why it couldn't lay close and maybe put a good finish on. Right now, it's kind of getting bet. I'm a little surprised. It's at 7-1 off that 15-1 morning line. So there's some players out there on the betting side that have taken to that horse.
Yeah, but both her turf races, finished second. She seems to be getting a little bit better. It was an open maiden race last time out on December 27th. The winner of that race made kind of a real early move and opened up the backstretch and was able to prevail in that race. And I thought, Eleuthera, even though she's a maiden, I was hoping if I was going to play her in this contest, I would get a bit better price than 7-1. But she was one that I thought had a decent chance at a price. But horses coming on to the track for the post parade for the Cal Cup Oaks. So what do you think strategy wise, Chris, in terms of, what's Giuseppe? Giuseppe has showed that he'll take a favorite.
Yeah.
And so he could very well, take one of the logical horses, but there are a few logical horses in here.
Yeah.
You don't try and I think, yes, there's day money and it's $12,500. By the way, let's mention that right now while we have a moment. There's day money and there's money for after the 2 days, but the day money is nothing to sneeze at. $12,500 for first, $7,500 for second, $3,750 for third, and $1,250 for fourth. But of course, everyone's got their eye on the big prize of $180,000 for the win. If you're able to take down the title in the Flo-Cal Faceoff. But I think you can do whatever you want because there's so many horses. The favorites at 5-2. There's a 4-1 shot, a 9-2 shot, a 6-1 shot. It just goes up gradually. Where we saw in our the 8th race where there was some logical horses and then a bunch of big long shots, or two logical favorites and a bunch of long shots.
Right.
This race, it just seems like you got a favorite, and it just kind of you got something for everybody in this race, as they go up the odds board, and you even got a few, big prices that, somebody was going to throw out there, right? 2, 4, and the 5 are all boxcar prices, 50-1, 45-1, 50-1. But this is just a race. I think you go with what you like, and hopefully, you like somebody besides the favorite. But for the top two, certainly the favorite is in play, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I really do think this is a race where you go with the horse you like, just the way you said that, especially, if you're near the top of the leaderboard, you're on, first or second, you want the winner. And so you'll go with whoever you think is the most likely winner, regardless of price, I think. You get a little farther down the board. If you want to win the day money, you have to start looking for a little bit more of a price. If you're down at $130, you need about a 10-to-1 shot to have a chance. So for me, near the top, you go with who you think is the most likely winner. Looking at them before the race, I thought, the post parade, the ones that looked the best were the 1 and the 3, both looked fantastic pre-race. The 6 also looked very good, Eleuthera. So, Big Novel, the 1, 3 Vivacious Vanessa, really looked good pre-race, I thought. So those were the sort of the 2 we were leaning towards as the most likely winners. Who would you go with? You're still on Vivacious Vanessa if I were on top?
If I was Giuseppe, I go with the favorite because I do like her quite a bit. If I'm a bit off the pace, maybe Dendera would be interesting, and then Big Novel is one that we mentioned right at the beginning. But I didn't think I thought she was at a pressured spot in that last race when she finished second behind Professor's Pride in that race at Los Alamitos. And Professor's Pride kind of dictated terms in that race. And Big Novel, I thought, ran pretty good to get up for second in that spot. And as you mentioned, by Mr. Big out of a Heat Seeker mare, first time on turf, she showed she could route a little bit. It wasn't the fastest race in the world, but Big Novel was trying at the end, has an inside post as well, and you get Johnny V. So there's a lot of good things about the one Big Novel in this race as well.
Yeah, and that's probably who I would go with, but I think the 3 is also, either the 1 or the 3, I would expect to see, the top 2 going that direction here, unless they like Professor's Pride. And they may have a different opinion of the race. There may be somebody in here, but they'll be going with who they like the most. After that, when it drops down kind of in the mid-pack, Eleuthera did look really good pre-race. So, if $25 can get you where you want to go, that's probably who I'd go with.
Yep.
Maybe if I was like in 3rd or 4th. And then after that, like I said earlier, my bomber in here is a 12 Vaping Angel. Mike Smith's got to drop back and make one run. I think that's what he'll do. If he does that, who knows? Maybe he can work a trip. I wouldn't recommend that horse if I were as the most likely winner. But if I'm looking for, I'm down in 10th or 15th and I want to take a shot at winning the day money, that's who I'd go with, the 12 Vaping Angel.
Big price, big price for Vaping Angel. But as they're about a minute or so before this 10th race, $200,000 stakes race, the Cal Cup Oaks. Favorite at 2-1, the 3-horse Vivacious Vanessa for trainer Gary Mandela. Back on the turf, showed a lot of promise in her debut win. Second choice at 3-1 is the 7-horse Professor's Pride. Is getting a little bit of late money. It was 7-2 a moment ago. Now 3-1. Undefeated in 2 starts, first time on turf. A daughter of Bayern out of a Twirling Candy mare. And Professor's Pride, strong second choice at 3-1. Then 9-2 on the 1. Big Novel, who finished second behind Professor's Pride. And then 8-1 on Eleuthera, and Rose Dawson is a mid-price horse in this race. Any final thoughts before this race is run? What do you think Giuseppe will use the favorite, or he'll go somewhere else?
I think he'll be on one of those top 3. I think both the leaders. I mean, the thing about these 12-horse turf races going a mile, it's all about trips.
Yep.
And like we talked about Vivacious Vanessa. I mean, she had a trip, right, in her turf debut. She overcame it, but that was against softer company. She needs a better trip in here probably to win. If she gets a trip like that, probably won't get the job done. So,
that's where there's an advantage to having that tactical speed. So horses like the 1, the 6, the 7, they're more likely to get good trips. So, it'll all come down to that. How fast are they going early and who can get the trip for those that are sitting off the pace.
They're loading up. Just a couple more left to load. The 6 Eleuthera is into the gate. The favorite is the 3 Vivacious Vanessa. Giuseppe is in the lead. Steve is right behind. We'll see what they chose in this 10th and final. Looks like we got one more left to load.
Look, this is where it gets exciting now. This is where the big money for day one is on the line, this race.
$12,500 for the day one leader, $7,500 for second, and then third, $3,750, and fourth, $1,250. But looks like, look, Giuseppe throwing us a curveball, going with the 8 horse.
Yes, and Steve Erison takes the 1 Big Novel, the horse that I was touting that for him to play, and then a couple horses, people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Eleuthera, 3rd and 4th place current finishers, Kyle.
And they're going fast.
Oh, yeah, they're going fast.
Pride.
23 seconds.
Yeah, Professor's Pride taking heat from Eleuthera. I don't know if that's going to work out for them. It may open it up for some of the others we talked about, like Big Novel or Vivacious Vanessa. So let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Does anybody? Who do we have on Vivacious Vanessa? And, those people have no chance to win. Yeah.
But the 3 Vivacious Vanessa is moving 3 wide up into 4th now.
Yeah, that's a strange pick at that spot. They have no chance to even get day money with that pick, but maybe they're just thinking longer term.
Yeah.
We'll see. They're bunching up here, turning for home like they do off on the turf. Let's see who's got the finish. The 3 horse making the move. The 1 horse, Big Novel, it looks like.
Yep.
And who's that on the outside? The 11? Rose Dawson, the one I was dissing a bit. It looks like it's going to get the job done. Big Novel's going to run second. So
11 and 1. So that's big news for Steve.
Nobody had the 11.
Oh. Right, but Steve, go back up.
Steve Steve with the 1. That place money's going to give him the win on the day. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see.
Tim Yoler?
Tim got the 11. So let's take a look at how far behind. And
he's not
kind of do some calculations.
Yeah, that'll help him, but it's not going to get him any money today. The big benefactor there was, Steve Erison, who went with Big Novel, got the place money, and passed up Giuseppe, who went with the big favorite last time, but he must have just thought Dendero was, the most likely winner, and that was his opinion. That was the way to play the race. It didn't work out for him. But it did work out for Steve Erison, who's $12,500 richer after day 1 and leading the pack heading into day 2 for the big money tomorrow.
Yes, $12,500 for the win. I didn't see anything real too sketchy in the stretch or anything, so I don't expect any inquiry or anything like that. But, yep. So getting up for the win with the second place horse, and no one else was close enough with the 11 to pass Steve or anything like that. But we're halfway. Well, I guess we're a little more than halfway home because we had 21 races today and then 19 races tomorrow for day number 2. While we're waiting for prices, Chris, in terms of a 2-day contest, if it's like the NHC or something like this, are you one to start the handicapping way ahead of time, or do you start on day 2 after you're done with day 1?
I would try to get as much as I can done, especially for this contest, not as much because you just have 2 tracks, but on the NHC, it's like 7 tracks.
Yes.
So if you're trying to do that all on, in real time, that's probably a big ask. But, for this format, I'm sure that some of the players probably are going day to day, but most of them are trying to get a jump.
Yep.
on it. I'm just looking at the choices in this race, and Vivacious Vanessa as a pick by some of these players down 6th through 10th. I don't quite understand that, unless it's just they didn't really care about the day money at all, and they just really liked her and they're thinking long term, because that horse wins, it doesn't even get them into the day money, and they're actually in a position where if they could have had the winner, they might actually cash. That's the other picks all sort of make sense to me, but that picking Vivacious Vanessa seems a little strange. I'm surprised that many players in that position went with that horse. But again, they may just be thinking longer term and not worrying about the day money, or like you said, some of these people may have put all their picks in advance, just sort of a pick and pray, and they're going to wait till day 2 to really start changing picks based on where they are on the leaderboard. So
yeah, I think you came up with both reasons. Definitely, you're taking the long-term view as opposed to the day money. It's nice to hit the day money, top 2, 12-5, 7-5. So that's nice, but you're looking at the 180,000 or the 22.5 for finishing 5th. That's when you start to get up to the serious money.
Yeah.
And then eventually, there's always stuff to factor in at the end of the tourney triple. Maybe people are going for points at the end as well. They don't have a serious chance to take down, top 3 finish or something like that. So you got that to factor in as well. But it is official. Still waiting the prices, but Rose Dawson, the 11 for Phil D'Amato, 2 for 2 lifetime, makes her turf debut a winning one, and 9-2 on her. And there is the update right there.
Yeah.
Steve is day 1 winner.
Yes, he made the pick that he didn't pick the winner, but he picked the 2nd place horse, and that's all he needed when he's 40 cents behind. He was probably a little bit frustrated at losing to the chalk, his lead in that second to last race, but he made up for it in the last race, and congratulations to him. He gets the 12,500. Giuseppe gets the we're going to try to get the day 1 leader if we can on to talk. And we've got, and 3rd place, there was some money for Kyle King, and in 4th, Albion Benton. So the top 4 get to go to bed with some cash in hand and in a great spot going into day 2.
Yes, and there's 19 races tomorrow on day 2. Gulfstream Park has got 10 races. Santa Anita's got 9. And we'll be on the air for day 2 for the final 4 races of the Santa Anita card. And field size, not the biggest in the world. No. So if you're down the leaderboard, you're going to have to make an early move, because it might be very, very difficult. You're going to have to almost be perfect at the end if you're going to, substantially move up the leaderboard in those final 4 or 5 races. But Gulfstream's got some big fields that potentially could help some of the players that are low on the leaderboard. And just like today, day 1, they've got prize money. Day 2, same sort of thing, $12,500 for the winner. So in case you're one of the people that are way down there, 376 entries, total entries in this contest, you still have stuff to shoot for with day number 2. And if you do well on day 2, you never know how hot you can get. Maybe you could also cash as well. But day 1 in the books here in the Flo-Cal Faceoff. Any thoughts, Chris?
Well, definitely. There's the day money tomorrow, even if you're down the leaderboard. And, if you can hit a couple of good prices early on, $160 is a pretty good score. But, I've seen a contest like this where the scores are much higher at the end of day 1. So it's not like you're completely out of it, even if you're down on the leaderboard. So, and plus they can always play just to move up
into the top 100 and earn some points for that tourney triple. So there's all kinds of things to play for on day 2. I just will comment one thing on that race. Flavian Pratt is just so good. I mean,
unbelievable.
That horse had never been on the turf. It had never routed. It was in the 11 hole. All those things I was saying why I thought it was a big underlay. But Flavian Pratt still got the trip and got the win. So, certainly the horse had to run the race, but, I don't know how many of the other riders would have won on that horse today. He is just really good. I think on the national scene, he's somewhat underrated, certainly not in California, but, he's a good rider. There's no doubt about it. And he showed it in that race. That was impressive.
Yep. Flo-Cal Faceoff, the first of 3 events on the Tourney Triple on HorseTourneys.com. We're in the midst of the Flo-Cal Faceoff. Second event, April 9th and 10th, the Players' Championship. And then the third event is August of 2022, the very popular Spa and Surf Showdown. But congratulations to Steve Arison, our day 1 leader and a winner of $12,500.
And we've got him on the phone. I think we're going to have him audio only here in a second, Bill. So I'll let you, about 30 seconds, we'll have him on. We'll be able to get his reaction, see what his thinking was. They're going in that last race.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice of Steve to take the time and talk to us on this webcast. And I'm sure you're not dealing with someone who's upset. That's for sure. When you talk to the leader, the winner after day 1, they're usually pretty jovial, to say the least. But Steve will be joining us momentarily and talk about his day 1. And I don't know if he'll have any sob stories, but even when you're doing great, sometimes you let one get away. But we'll talk to Steve in just a moment. But
he wants to enjoy his 15 minutes of fame here, right, as the day 1 leader in the 2022 Flo-Cal Championship. So I think we're going to get him on here shortly.
Hopefully. And like I said, $12,500 goes to Steve Arison, day 1 winner. But the big prize, the $180,000, is what Steve and everyone else is shooting for the overall lead. But it's always nice when you don't pick the winner, and even second place gets you where you want to be. And Steve was able to do that with that 1-horse Big Novel in the last race of the contest. But hopefully we're going to get Steve on the line. And if we are able to get a hold of him, we'll talk to him for a couple minutes before we sign off. But pretty good score, all things considered, for Steve. What is it, about 2 times the starting bankroll? Is that correct, or almost that much? So, but Steve did pretty good. He had an early winner at Gulfstream Park. It's always nice to get one of your first 2 picks, a non-favorite pick at that, and get on the board. Usually gives you some confidence. And he had a bit of a price horse at Gulfstream, $14 to place on in that 9th race, and a nice winner at Santa Anita that also got him on the board. And he had the cap horse, Mom's Moon, for Arnold in that last race at Gulfstream Park. That a lot of the top finishers, and that's $64 of the total right there. So that was the key horse that you probably had to have if you're going to finish in the top 3 or 4 and get some day money. But
you can see he made a big. Yeah, he made a big move there when he hit, the Santa Anita 5th and Gulfstream 11th. He put, let's see, $86 of his bankroll he got in those 2 races back to back. those are probably the key races along with his second place finish in the last race. That's probably what made it for him. It looks like we might have him on and might even have him on the video here. So,
well, is that you, Steve? Steve, congratulations. Can you hear us? Oh.
All right. All right. Well, Steve, we need you to unmute, and so we'll have a chat once we can talk to you. You should have a little microphone icon that you can click on and turn on the audio for us.
So, well, we can see Steve, but can we hear Steve? Steve, can you hear us?
Can you hear us, Steve? Okay. We don't necessarily have to have the video either if that's caused any problems. Okay. We'll give him some time to get on. So you can kind of see that overall, Steve was pretty aggressive with his picks. A lot of prices on these plays.
Yeah, he played an array. He played some favorites. He played some long shots, and
he kind of mixed it up.
You know,
so I think
in a mandatory type of contest, you got to pick some favorites every now and then, just to pad your score, and it all adds up in the end. And Steve was able to get up for the win in day number 1 in this Flo-Cal Faceoff. So, what are we gonna?
He's having a little trouble getting on. But certainly, he did pick his spots, and the race that probably looked wide open, the most wide open at Gulfstream, he was aggressive there, and it really paid off for him when he hit that cap horse. So, but then, once he got into contention for the day money, he, zeroed in. I'm guessing he pretty much played the horses he liked all the way through here. Didn't get very tactical at all.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, we're going to try an alternative way. We may not. We knew this would be a little bit of a challenge trying on the fly get the day 1 leader. He's talking, but we can't hear him. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to get the audio going, so we may have to bag this and just go for the. And we'll try it. We have one. All right, so we'll give him one last chance here. We'll see if we can come up with a way to an alternative way to talk. All right. No, I see his lips moving, but I can't hear what he says. To quote Pink Floyd. And we're being comfortably numb here at the end of the day.
Yes. So, can Steve hear us or no? Steve? Still, the mic is muted.
All right, I'll tell you what. I think we just we made a good shot. Took a shot at that.
We took a shot, but technology won out over us.
Yes. But congratulations. Sorry we couldn't talk to you. Great day 1. Good luck tomorrow in day 2, and to all the players. We'll be back right like 20 minutes before race 6, which I think tomorrow is 3 o'clock. Is that right? 3 o'clock?
Pacific time, yeah.
Pacific time.
Yep.
And we'll be up through the end until we crown a new Flo-Cal champion who will be $180,000 richer, maybe with some day money as well. Who knows?
Yes. So the final 4 races, day 2 tomorrow. Join us on the YouTube stream, and we'll like Chris said, we'll crown a champion for the Flo-Cal Faceoff. So for Chris Larmey, I am Bill Downs. Thank you for joining us for day 1, and we'll see you tomorrow for day 2 of the Flo-Cal Faceoff on HorseTourneys.com.